Let me get even louder. No. I did that first thing this morning. There were some people not happy. So, this next panel coming up, actually the first panel I did here at Pensacon, I had the honor of doing with one of these actors, which was actually Lou Temple, on The Devil's Rejects, a Rob Zombie film. And Lou is an incredible guy. I got to listen to him talk, and his just an incredible passion for his work, for this field, and it's just amazing, what this gentleman has done. Great actor, been in lots of phenomenal films, and then for this panel, he's actually joined by Theodus, which everyone here knows from what? Walking what? I expected like more.
Walking Dead.
Let's see. We know him from?
The Walking Dead.
There you go. This guy, incredibly versatile actor. He has done just an amazing number of things. He's been a genie. He's been an opera singer, sort of. And he has some incredible new projects coming up with some actors who somebody named De Niro or something. Anyway, he has some phenomenal projects coming up. Great actor, phenomenal guy. Please put your hands together, bring to the stage Lou Temple, Theodus Craig.
Everybody. Yeah. Well, you know what today is? It's Sunday. So that means we go to church in the morning, and then later this evening, what do?
Walking Dead.
Oh yeah, the little show, The Walking Dead. Yeah, I know that show. Thank you so much for having us. We've had such a fantastic weekend here in Pensacola, Florida, where the Pensacon is being so supported by the community, and particularly by y'all here, but also just all the businesses and the restaurants and your media, and everybody has really gotten into it. So for a first-time show, I think it will land, and that's because of you. So give yourselves a hand. I'm excited to be here to be able to talk about The Walking Dead, the phenomenon that is The Walking Dead. I'm Lou Temple. I played Axel, as you know, and you are?
I am Theodus Crane. I was Big Tiny. He was my friend.
So, The Walking Dead is, as I said, is a phenomenon, a cultural phenomenon, I think we can call it, for so many reasons. Some of us watch the show just because we like it, and we like zombies, which we call walkers. Some of us watch it because it's great drama, and we adore the characters. And I'm sure some of us watch it because we're caught up in the social media of it. And some of us watch it because we're living it, I think. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but none of us wake up without the thought of survival every morning, whether it's mortgage or credit, debt, how we get the kids to school. Somebody in our family is not well. And I think the walkers represent these obstacles that are natural in our life, and I think we relate naturally to these adversities for survival, and we can attach ourselves to these characters, and it's very easy to say, what would I do if I were Rick? Would I be a good leader? Would I be a follower? So, there's many layers. There's college classes where you can get credit on The Walking Dead now. I've heard Robert Kirkman say that we are in an apocalyptic society mindset. In other words, that we're really thinking about this is going to happen, and so we're looking for this knowledge. And I think all these things are part of the popularity, which I appreciate it because it's really smart. I like the idea that you are not the fans, you are the audience, or the fourth wall cast member, I often say, because I think you inform the show as much as the show informs you. I think you let production know who needs to die and when. In some sort of a osmosis type of way. And I think the show does the same to you. For instance, in Axel's death, it was a time in the season we were getting very comfortable in the prison, and everything was kind of fitting in. We might grow a garden, and Rick was a little nutty out there, but he'll be back in. All our uncles are crazy. And bang! Axel goes down, and all hell breaks loose. And again, to let you know not to get too attached to any particular one thing, and that it's a very scary, dangerous place. And that was really our task and what we were trying to accomplish. And though I'm not happy not to be on the show, I'd still love to be on the show. I'm really proud with what we did with Axel. So I'll talk like you should talk. I don't have a chance to. You know New Orleans. We're both from New Orleans. He's actually Atlanta, but man, if you don't, if you don't talk, you can't get a word in edgewise. So
I was enjoying listening. But no, it's a lot of what you said is true, man. It's like that's the draw of the story is who's gonna kick the bucket, who's gonna get one, and it's one of those shows where you learn not to like somebody. If you really want them to make it through, you gotta hate the hell out of them.
I don't think that worked with the governor.
But I will say this:
because he's gone.
But the governor, you saw like the humanity of it. Like when he actually started cultivating a new tribe, as it were. I mean, yeah, there were some flaws, a little crazy.
I'll talk a little bit about The Walking Dead and its field. My experience, this would be my experience, it might not be Theo's or Andrew Lincoln's, but my experience is that it's a fantastically well-run production, and it is, at its core, it is family. And when I say that, I mean from the producers, to the writers, to the directors, to the actors, to the departments, hair, makeup, camera, sound, everybody is pulling in one direction, and that's to outdo themselves from last week, as if we might get canceled. There's no hierarchy or divas. Everybody is absolutely one, and it is a real family unit. So that being said, when someone gets lost or off the show, it hurts. It hurts for a couple reasons. One, you see a brethren go down, but two, that's a good friend. It's not going to be there on Monday, and that sucks. And we've experienced that. So hard work. That old-fashioned thing, hard work, is really why the show is so successful. It starts in the writer's room. They're really good at turning a phrase for these characters. The story that I have, if you don't mind, I'll tell. This set the bar for us. We were being the reveal of the prisoners, the 5 of us. Our very first day, it was just a shot. Holy shit, and we're watching Herschel's leg be removed, amputated. Well, the cast had done that scene the day before. They had actually had the day off, the first part of the day off, and weren't being called in. It was just it was just us, yeah. They came in and did this scene in full intensity for our behalf. That was done so that we would be able, as new players, and to have the reaction for this reveal when we came up to watch Herschel get his leg removed. They already had that in the can. They filmed that day before. And so that, to me, set the tone of what type of work ethic that this production had. And I've been around a long time. I've done a lot of cool things, a lot of good things, and I had never really experienced that. And that was the rule every day. I mean, that was not an exception. And every day they show up. Every day we show up, and it's a culture. They cultivate that, and so that when new players came to me, that's what I introduced them to, and it keeps on carrying, so that there's a real consistency in that, and that's what The Walking Dead is. That is good hard work. You know, they started out very small. We don't know if we're going to be on, if anyone's going to get this. To where are we now? You know,
it's kind of like when you get on set, like a really cool summer camp. You know, you get there and everybody's like, "Hey, how you doing? You come to eat? You sit with our table? Sit down, come let's talk. What we've been doing? What you up to? Like, where you from?" You know, it's one of those things like they're excited just to have somebody new there to play with.
Yeah, it is. It's very inviting, and you know, and again, it starts with Andrew Lincoln, who plays Rick Grimes as well. Hardest working guy. You know, he's British, and he busts his tail to get his Atlanta on, his Southern. And he works hard at it. They all do, and I have so much respect.
I tell you what, man, we were on set, I forget what scene it was, and it was like a little bit of a break between scenes. And you know, I hadn't seen the show yet, didn't know anything about it, didn't know him. And I was like, "So where you from?" "London." And I thought to myself, "Well, you don't tell me, just don't tell me."
That's funny. Yeah, you would never know if you spoke to him and he was just talking like this. "Lou, that was great today, wasn't it? Just brilliant, right?" And so it catches you off guard. And he doesn't do it. He would never do it in front of y'all because he has respect for the show and his work and the character of Rick, that he doesn't want to remove that from you. The cool things, people always ask me, well, what are some of the interesting things? I found it interesting that walkers show, we call them walkers, but fighters, yeah, zombies. Interesting that, you know, you're around them all the time, and at first it's rather unsettling.
I loved it.
You did? It made me nervous the first time. Like, I was trying to be cool, but I was like, I don't like this. And then all of a sudden you're at craft service where you're getting a snack, or maybe you're having a smoke or something, and they're hanging out, and they're talking to you, their jaws dropping off. Yeah, I'm like, wow, why do you have one ear? But then you start engaging them in conversation and talking about current events, and politics, and books, and music, and maybe you're down with them in a scene where you're working all day. You know, you're in between takes, you're talking about the game last night. And then they get out of makeup and leave for the day. You know, see you tomorrow. And some hot chick. Yeah, man. She was in makeup all day looking awful. And I'm like, wait, whoa, that was you? Wait a minute. Yeah, I'll be in tomorrow. How will I know? So I thought that was interesting. The other thing people say, well, what do you take from The Walking Dead? Did you get your prison suit or your shank? I didn't take any of that. You know what I took? Friends. Right here. And I mean that sincerely. Some really dear friends that I wouldn't be afraid to call on at any given moment, and they would all answer that call as I would. And that's really special. That's really a cool thing. I think that those kinds of things work, you know. Axel, I had originally been asked to come in for the pilot, you know, based on my Rob Zombie background in the horror genre. I had seen The Walking Dead comic book come across my desk, and wow, that's really great. You're going to do a television show? No, they'll never pull that off. This is better than, they can't do this. Wow, they're doing it. And then I was brought in to read for Merle originally, and thankfully they hired Michael Rooker. But they had this other character who didn't even have a name, but it was Merle's brother. And so I read for that. I said, well, these are the same lines that I read last week from Merle. Yeah, we know. We don't even know what we're going to write for him. Just read him different than you did last week. Okay. Well, thankfully they found Norman Reedus. And then finally for Axel, they figured out you could do this. So it was great, and the stories that, and I'm going to let Theodus speak about this, but our introduction of coming in is the show, because of you all, the show is so secretive that the things that we were brought in to do had nothing to do with what we were really going to do. I was brought in to play a psycho maniac killer that was going to steal one of the children and take them out into the woods and sacrifice them as an angel of mercy to stop the apocalypse. That's what I was brought in to do. And that's what I was prepared to do. And that's where Axel started. So you can imagine my surprise when they said, you know what, you're going to be the one white dude with these other. And can you be a little funny, but not too funny? And you know, you're going to be the shortest one of the bunch. Oh yeah, the other guy, Keyshawn was. So they flipped the script on us really quick, but that's just to avoid leaks. And the other thing, we got there on set our first day, and all the names on the trailers were not what I had known. I'm like, where's Norman? I knew Norman Reedus. I'm like, where's Norman? Who's that? And what are these names on these call sheets? Again, everything's code, everything's an alias, everything's secret. I'm like, guys, we got duped. We're doing a webisode in Atlanta. God damn it.
When we were in the makeup trailer, I think you were there for that. It was me, Vincent, and Marquise talking, and we all actually read for the same part to get our parts. And the part was Mouse.
Yeah, I remember. Every one of them thought they were Mouse.
Yeah.
I'm playing Mouse. No, I'm Mouse.
And the writer is sitting there, just sitting there reading. I bet she was just waiting for it to happen, just couldn't get enough of this. And it's like, so who's gonna be Mouse? There is no Mouse.
Yeah. I mean, the scene that I read they wanted me to do was with T-Dog on a night watch somewhere talking about our mustaches. T-Dog barely has a mustache. I know, Axel was like, how do you get your mustache? I just can't do a thing with my mustache. And I'm like, what is
Which we know is a lie.
Yeah, I'm like, the thing with the mustache was that I was doing The Lone Ranger, this little indie movie from Walt Disney. And I had a mustache and playing cowboy in Texas Rangers in the Old West. And when I got hired for The Walking Dead, they were like, I said, well, I'm still on The Lone Ranger and I can't really come to work. No, we'll adjust our schedule. I said, I have long hair and facial hair and I'm playing a cowboy and I can't really mess with that until I'm done with Lone Ranger, which was going to be all summer. And they said, no, we like that look. That'd be good. I go, you don't. You're going to ask me to shave my mustache. I'm not coming. I don't want to do your show. It's all because of my mustache. So then they called me back and go, listen, you really can keep your mustache. I said, no, I got to go. Thanks anyway, though. Man, that's cool. Thanks. Hire Steve Zahn. And then I was hoping they would call back the third time, and thankfully they did. You know, that old 3 strikes and you're out sometimes. That's true. This wasn't in that case. They did invite me back. So I kept the mustache, and it has more followers than I do. Axel stash. I'm going to stash you a question, but I'll shave it for later. It's very, very important. Yeah.
I actually cut my mustache because of your mustache.
Really?
Oh, there's no competition there.
Oh, let's see. Those were fun things. People ask us about, the thing. Everybody is so interesting, and everyone works so differently, and yet doing the same thing for the same cost. So I learned a lot, and again, I've been around a lot, and I learned a lot on set from different people just watching them. Like I said, Andrew Lincoln, let's do it again. Let's do it again. let's do it again. And every time he does it again, it's different. He's tweaking, he's trying something different. Is this it? Is this it? It's a Rubik's Cube for him. He's unlocking something. It's brilliant. Norman Reedus, I learned a lot from him. He's like Johnny Appleseed. He's always throwing seeds out. And what I mean by that is an idea. There was no crossbow in the script. There were no squirrels. These were things that he drops little seeds and he watches to see if the writers pick up on them for his storyline. Remember, he's building that one, right? That's not in the comic, the graphic novel. So I watch him, and not all of it lands, not all of it takes root, but some of it does, and it's great. And that's a great way for an actor to make their work vital and virile, you know. And so he does a lot of that. It's very, very, very smart. The freshness of young actors, I think, was kept the show alive. And you know, it's hot in Atlanta, y'all. I know you're in Pensacola, but it's hot in Atlanta in the summertime. Wearing those jumpsuits, wow. That thing started wearing me by week 2. You know, think about it.
It wasn't so much even the heat for me. You know, I'm from Atlanta. I'm used to that. Jumpsuit, I can do it. They wanted to make sure that we looked like we were always sweating. But I was always sweating. And they just kept coming, and every time we cut, you spray and spritz and blah, blah, blah. Leave me alone. Get off of me. I'm wet already. You know,
and the walkers, those poor people, you know, they have a whole body they're wearing of latex.
Yeah.
And they go in, it's 4 hours in and 2 hours out of that stuff. And
it's never in the shade of Mr. Cut.
That thing is melting on them. I mean, I've seen stuff just, that latex just melt, and it's work. So, bugs, I mean, we're not in some fancy set. We're out in the woods in Georgia. There are bugs that have not been discovered yet. I promise there's some paleontologists that are like, I've never seen that before. And, you know, just insane heat, bugs, crazy, you know, setups, running through things. Jesus.
The fake fog.
Yeah, there's things, you know, you're breathing in crap. So it is work, and at the end of the day, you are beat up. And remember, this is a television show, so it's not like a film. We have 10 days to shoot this episode. 10 days means we do it in 8. We get 2 days off. So 8 days of physical work for you per episode. So it is a run and gun. We are on. Everyone is hustling. There's no time to have much grab ass or sit back and say, that was a great scene, wasn't it? Yeah, let's go. Next. So it is a lot of work, but there are moments where we just sit back and go, yeah, man, we did that. That was cool. That's how we do. Let's break it open for. Ed, do you mind if we do some questions? And I will pass the mic off. We'll share the mic, and I've talked so much. I apologize for that, but I'm very enthusiastic and passionate about this show and you, the audience.
We'll start right here.
What was it like when you finally had to leave the set for like the last time after you were killed? And the second part is if you were still alive, what would be your role? Like, what would you think you would be in as far as the group and everything like that now, especially with if no one's watched lately with the split and everything like that?
When I left set, first off, I stole my parking pass. Just because I felt like, you know, maybe they'll just, I was in denial, maybe they'll bring it back, you know, only prepared. And I actually kept it in my car for like a year. But it was one of the saddest moments for me, just because it, like you said, it's just it's not just a great show, it's not just great work, it's great people. And if I was still on the show, I don't know, man, I think it would be one of those things where, you know, the big guy up front is taking out the whatever. I'd have to get in better shape for that, but, you know, and maybe that's why I didn't make it, you know.
I was determined not to be sad all the way through. I wanted Axel to leave on a happy, kind of sad day. So, and also knew that I was going to end up doing this and being out here and not, I don't want to bring any sadness about that, because that's your job, to be sad for Axel. And so, I left, I'll tell a story, this is the inside story. There was a lot of indecision if Axel was going to go or stay. They didn't want to undo him, but they had to do something. They thought about and talked about, and I was part of conversations. We could take out Dunnant. We could take out Bang. We could take out some regulars, series regulars. We need to do that, but not yet. Sorry, it's back to you, Axel. Okay. Then they come to you and say, don't tell the cast. Then the cast finds out. They tell the cast. They come up to you. Oh, man, I'm so sorry. And I would just sit there and think, you have no idea. You have no idea it was you, not just 2 days ago. So then you do the job. In honor of Axel, in honor of you, the audience, I wanted to make sure that it was done well and done right. And that's what we were trying to do, the gut punch. You didn't see that coming and to make it hurt. But in doing that, I had to make the day very okay. I didn't show up that day bummed out. I wanted a little pep in my step and a little whistle and a little story and then bang. And so that's kind of how I played it all the way through. The story I was going to tell is, because they hadn't made the decision, they hadn't made what they call a life cast, which is the mannequin or the dummy of me. So they didn't have one. Greg Nicotero, who is the executive producer, special effects artist, and great director of the show, bears a certain resemblance to me and has done several of the zombies. They used his head, painted it, used some hair, made him up. That's Greg Nicotero laying there taking all those bullets. I was on vacation by then. I think I was down in New Orleans. Well, dummy Axel was getting shot all to hell. And so I was feeling good. The death dinner was great. It was a huge dinner, cast, really lovely. I didn't pay any of it. That's what's great about that dinner. So, thank you. That was a long answer to your question. Oh, what would I do now? Axel, Axel would, he would help Beth. Interesting. Be off with Carol? I don't think he would let Carol get all crazy. Yeah, I think he would definitely be part of the group and trying to be a peacekeeper. I think he would, we could all get along here. That would be his place. And yeah, I think Carol might have some good times. Yes, ma'am, sorry.
No, that's okay. Is there any character deaths other than your own that you were most surprised to see?
Most surprised to see go? Get gone?
Other than the governor.
Yes. It's interesting because we're social with our family, they tell us things, and so I'm never surprised. And I always want to be. But I was a little surprised with Herschel. Because I felt like he really served a place for that family unit, and I thought they really were taking it out. So that surprised me a little bit,
I definitely say Herschel. I was glad to see the governor go the way he did. It was gratifying. But honestly, yours was the most surprising for me. I was sitting in the bar and you were having a viewing or whatever, and you could audibly, the shock was audible. Everybody, reacted in some kind of way. So it was the most shocking.
The great thing about it, I wanted it to be, because they were so sad about doing it that they brought me to the writer's room and asked me, how do you want to do it? So I said, you're the geniuses, you write it. But I just wanted to come out of nowhere, and I just kept thinking about Kennedy. And I just kept thinking about how that shocked a nation. That was an age of innocence, and that I wanted the show to spin in a certain way at that point. So, yeah. Yes, sir.
This is just for Lou. Did you ever try to form Axel based on the comic character, or did you just try to make it your own?
I really did try to make it my own. I will say that I know the Axel in the graphic novel, there were elements of him, gregarious, outgoing, colloquial, those things I wanted him to have. Generally a big heart. I think the Axel in the comics is a bit more of a biker guy. Obviously, he's more husky, maybe a little older. Maybe he's a little more pervy. I would say that I was reserving fangs for my Axel in the event the writers wanted to go off, because we had talked a lot about he isn't what he seems. That's why we buttoned the prison. You know, when you unrobed Axel, you were going to see a lot of tattoos, Henry Rollins style, and maybe he wasn't the guy that we thought he was. I mean, he was in for pharmaceuticals, and then he holds up a bank with a water gun. Is he a pathological liar? Is he really a killer or a rapist? I was reserved those elements, but I wanted, they brought me in, they wanted to lighten it up a little bit, so, you know, to have a little levity with the Axel, and then just make it my own, you know. I think, but that Axel he's great and well liked, but I think we were different, yeah. By about 40 pounds.
Yes. I would like to know any of the names of movies coming up for any of you.
Let's see, The Bagman comes out next weekend. It's Robert De Niro, John Cusack. Working on a couple of things, can't really say much yet, but there are things in development. But that's pretty much the only thing that hasn't come out that I'm waiting for.
I'm looking forward to The Bagman. I have a movie coming out next week, or March 4th, called Wicked Blood, with Abigail Breslin and Sean Bean. Sean Bean, as I like to call him. That's pretty good, like Breaking Bad meets Donnie Brasco, Crystal Meth in the South. You know, family movie. As I do. I have a movie coming out called Night Moves with Jesse Eisenberg and Dakota Fanning, Peter Sarsgaard. It's about ecological terrorism. They blow up a dam to prove a point to the government, and in doing so they kill a camper, me, and then they argue amongst themselves about the virtues of killing someone. They shouldn't have done it to save a tree. Is it better to save a tree or a human? I have a film coming out called The Grace of Jake. It's kind of about the boy named Sue, that old Johnny Cash song. Boy's gonna come home with his dad's ass for naming him Sue, but then finds out his dad's just like him. So yeah, I have some cool stuff coming out. I'm excited. Yeah.
Hi. It was brought up on Talking Dead that the more dramatic the killing off of the character speaks directly to how loved the character was by the audience. If you could have rewritten the deaths, how would both of you have maybe died?
I'd have liked more of a running start. I believe if I, you know, that old playground race, if I could, I'd have liked to hit from the ladies' tees. I gotta be honest with you, there's not anything different in my death, because as I said, I had a hand in it, so I did actually get to kind of help deliver what we did. And the great thing about it was that in the story, part of the shock factor was that I didn't stop talking. And again, that wasn't scripted. So the special effects guys weren't sure when to throw the pyro with the hit, because they knew the script, but I didn't stop. And I was just hoping that they would catch on and go, oh shit, we gotta take him out. I don't know, he's still talking. Is this important what he's saying? I don't think so, he's talking about his brother. He has a brother? I don't know. Now they're fishing. What? Push the button!
Honestly, at first, I did want a different, like at least, you know, a little bit longer, further on in the series, but the more feedback I got about my death, the more, you know, I'm okay with it. You know, people People had a very strong reaction to my death. It was, somebody told me it was one of the most gruesome deaths on the show. I'll take that, you know. You know, so, but, yeah, it was, and I actually enjoyed staging that, you know. The only thing I didn't like about it was walking past the bus of my smashed in head to go to work. That's what I said. Other than that, yeah.
If there was one character you could choose to die instead of you, who would it be and why?
Tomas.
At the time when I got the call, Glenn Mazzaro was running the show, and I kept telling him, because we had just brought in some new people with Tyrese, and I'm like, what about that Alan guy? He's an asshole. Let's take him out. It's like, no one will care. No one knows him yet. So I lobbied for Alan, poor David May. He's the sweetest guy. You all meet him. He's a great guy and a great actor. And so, but who would I, let's see. Oh, I'll tell you exactly who. That baby. I'd kick her last kicker right out. She's always yelling, needs to be fed, no sleep. How many parents in here? Sleep deprivation, right? Worst form of torture? All right.
I know you, I did not see that coming.
What was it like working with all the characters in the series?
What was the last part?
Working with all the characters in the series?
It was great. Everybody on the show was fantastic to work with. Like you said, you learn something from everybody. You know, there's a wealth of knowledge on that set. Not just cast, but crew, you know, to the writers, directors, everybody.
Yeah, everyone's good. And different. Good in a different way. It's not like, you know, it's not Happyville. And everyone, it's interesting in the makeup trailer, depending on who's in there, it's different music. Now it's cool. It's like being down on your block. What's it called? Pillow Talk? No, what's the street?
Hashtag reading Palafox Pillow Talk.
You know, every the makeup, each cast member brought in a different sound. I learned as much new music on the set as. That was another interesting thing. I watched Andrew Lincoln and Norman Reedus are really based or driven with music. Informs their work, and I kind of picked up on that, and I saw how that worked, and it was great. And you'll often see them with their, you know, their iPods in, listening to a preparatory piece of music, and I started digging on that and doing that. So that I had for my going away day, there's a guy named Citizen Cope that I like very much, and he has a song called "A Bullet in a Target." It's a happy kind of sad song. And it was perfect. So it is great. Every one of them was cool, fantastic.
Actually, I find that kind of interesting because you're actually an accomplished musician yourself.
Oh, thank you. That's
And
I have a record deal with Universal for Banjo and Sullivan and the Rob Zombie stuff. And you know, big hits like "I'm at home getting hammered while she's out getting nailed," or "I don't give a truck." Yeah, man. And Theodus, you've actually played a singer.
Play what?
Didn't you play an opera singer?
Oh yeah, I was a part of a burlesque and vaudeville group for a while. I was Blue Genie, an opera singer, strong man. You know, music's actually a big part of my life as well. I played growing up, cello, bass, tuba, singing, all that stuff. So yeah.
For Theodus, what is it like to come onto the show and have a character that you have to build yourself? Because of course Big Tiny was in the comics. And for Lou, my mom loves your socks, by the way. And my sister wants me to tell you guys that she wants to marry Norman Reedus. I don't know why that pertains to you. But for Lou, I wanted to ask you, how long did it take you to grow your mustache?
Honestly, it was kind of easy. Based on the text I was given, you could tell that Big Tiny wasn't a hardened criminal. While he was huge, he was still a big softy. He was quiet, laid back. So I always assumed that, or I built in my head that he was like his crime was probably an accomplice to something. Wrong place, wrong time kind of deal. And that pretty much, in my mind, just blossomed from there. That's how his interactions were with everybody else. When we were at the table getting our weapons, I made it a point to be the last person to pick mine up because I really didn't want to be there. So, yeah, that's pretty much
That's true, because as much as we say how great the writing is, they're very flexible and adjustable. If something doesn't work, that's where it starts on the page, but then by the time it gets to us and we tear through it, it's rewritten. And I think the show is really great because they get it right. They don't just say, well, this is that. Quick story again, I don't have any quick stories, but the scene where I'm begging for my life, as is Oscar with Rick, and it looks like an execution. It's written that we're both begging for our lives. And I've been in Atlanta, and I'm from New Orleans, and I'm from the South, and I'm like, I get that. Someone's going to hear me. I'm white. But that black man right there, he's not ever begging for his life because he's had a life that no one's listened. I feel entitled. I can lie and, wiggle my way out of it, or someone will listen. I'll have my day in court. But for the black guy, and I brought that up, and I said, I don't think he should be begging. And they listened, the writers and the producers, and they said, really? And I asked Vincent Ward, and he said, I wouldn't do what you gotta do. And that's exactly what he said in the scene. And I mean, can I speak to that? Was that right?
That was absolutely right. He actually, when that got brought up while we were on set, he actually had said that he said something very similar in a very similar situation. Like that's happened to him.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that The Walking Dead gets right. Mustache. Let's call it 1 year. Socks Paul Smith.
Thank you.
Marriage, what's your father do?
That's important.
This question's actually from my fiance. She's a little nervous to ask, but she wanted me to ask Lou, did you ever get that rock out of your shoe?
Had a rock in my shoe all weekend. Out in the South Side, that means something else. But but yeah, I did get it out. Thank you. Although these shoes, I've got my creepers on today, so everything's comfy. Everything's comfy. Who next is?
Right over here.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, how has it affected your life being on the show? Is it affected in a good way or a bad way?
It sucked.
Sure would have liked to have been on it longer and made more money, but I wish I had built a swimming pool at my house. I thought I was going to be on for a couple seasons. Haven't filled that yet. It's been great. Obviously, the visibility and the exposure of being on the #1 show in the world, not just in Pensacola, but the world. It's pretty darn cool. And it's brought me the opportunity to be out here amongst y'all. It's brought me the opportunity to get out to other places like Pensacola to meet folks. Certainly it's got me into different casting rooms to be up for some projects that I may or may not have been otherwise. It's educated me a lot about how a phenomenon can catch fire, and to be part of something like that, my God. So all good. It's all good. Occasionally I'll go somewhere and get a free drink. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, it's been great. Thank you. Oh, you should answer.
I gotta say, from a professional standpoint, yeah, it's got me definitely reading for some roles that I would not have been, but the experience I gained from working with people like Lou and Andrew and Norman, that's invaluable. Like, you don't get that kind of, because again, I've not been doing this as long as Lou or some of the people. So to get that kind of first-hand experiences is one of the most incredible things ever. And on a personal level, to be here, because I could easily be there, you know, asking somebody else questions. And, you know, I'm truly blessed, I have to say. So I thank you guys for coming out, and I thank you for supporting the show and, you know, loving us.
Yeah, we are running down on time, so we have probably just enough time for maybe 1-2 questions. And right here.
This is for both of y'all. Is there anybody from the graphic novel that you want to see in the series?
I'm really interested in. Wow, this is a trick question. I just realized that. Are you with the media? Because there's going to be, actually no, because Abraham is coming, so I am excited for Abraham. And I'm also excited to see Tyrese and where that goes, because as those of us who know the graphic novel know what a huge player he is. So I'm curious. Other than that, I feel like we got enough on our plate, and because of that, as now an audience member, I know that we're going to get more heat on. It's like Thanksgiving. Oh, not more potato. No, Grandma had enough, but we're going to get some more players. I don't know if that's an answer, but I'm sticking with that.
I'm honestly curious to see what happens, what they do, going away from the graphic novel. I'm curious to see like how the independence from that develops. So that's more what I'm interested in.
What was each of your favorite scenes to film in the TV show?
The first time we went out and we're trying to fight walkers.
Yeah.
The prison chain. Yeah. That was a lot of fun.
What it takes.
Exactly.
That was so much fun. Because it wasn't far from how, we were just excited because we hadn't got to kill any walkers yet. They had been doing it for 2 years, so we wanted to show them we were hardened criminals who could do it. So it was really fun. I liked the scene with Carol, the short hair. I thought that was fun because it was fun because most of her work was reacting in it. She was so delightful to watch react. She was really great with that. No, I'm not. I'm not a lesbian. It was just, that's interesting. No, it's not. She was great. I think the Shank scene was really good too, where we attacked the walkers, because it was just crazy. Yeah, that was fun.
Do you remember? It was Bill Garrett's birthday, and we were going out, and it was a standoff scene. It had the little bitty hats everybody had to wear.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
That was funny, yeah. Sometimes we do jokes on the show.
We'll wear some crazy mask or something, and we'll enter from cell block C, and the director will be like, "What the fuck said?" That was fun. And every now and then we'll have a joyous moment, and then it's back to killing zombies.
Unfortunately, we're out of time, but I'm sure it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you two here.
Thank you.
Give them an applause.